A woman sits behind the wheel of a midnight blue Subaru on a rain-soaked highway outside Bellingham, Washington. Her hands shake. The trooper asks for her license. She says her name is Dana Phillips. But when he runs the plates, the system freezes. Then, alert. Vehicle tied to missing person case. 2012. The car belongs to a dead woman. Victoria Harmon disappeared 8 years ago. The state of Washington had stopped looking. Her family had stopped asking. Her name had been erased from every database, every record, every system that proves a person exists. But her car, it never stopped moving. And the woman driving it wasn't Victoria. To understand how a dead woman's car ended up 200 miles away with a stranger behind the wheel, you have to go back to the morning Victoria vanished. Because what looked like a simple hiking trip turned into something far worse. And the person responsible slept soundly for 8 years. If you've ever felt like something about a story doesn't add up, you're not alone. A lot of you watching right now have that same instinct. Before we go further, hit subscribe. Because this story, it's about to get darker. Welcome to Compass True Crime Stories. Kindly support and encourage us by subscribing to this channel as we continue to keep you entertained with new true crime stories around the world on a daily basis. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next interesting and chilling true crime story. October 9th, 2012, Clallam County, Washington. Victoria Harmon is 39 years old. She works as a renewable energy consultant, spends her weekends outdoors, and every fall, without fail, she takes a solo hiking trip to the Hoh rainforest. It's her reset, her ritual. That morning, she leaves behind the small things, a half-empty coffee mug on the kitchen counter, hiking boots by the door, a GPS tracker charging on the dashboard of her Subaru. She kisses her husband Owen goodbye. He's 43, works in municipal records, methodical, calm, watches her pull out of the driveway. She waves, he waves back. She never came home. Owen waits until Monday morning to call it in, 48 hours after she left. Search teams flood the Olympic Peninsula, helicopters sweep the canopy, cadaver dogs work the trails. Volunteers check every trailhead, every campsite, every logging road. Nothing. No car, no gear, no body. Rangers pull the trailhead logs. Victoria's name isn't there. Her phone? Last ping near Port Angeles. Then, silent. Weeks pass, still nothing. 3 weeks after Victoria disappeared, Owen receives a letter in the mail. Postmarked from Vancouver, BC, handwritten, unsigned. But the words are cold, final. I'm gone, I need space. Don't look for me. Owen shows it to the police. A handwriting analyst compares it to Victoria's old notes, her grocery lists, her work emails. They match. The case is reclassified, voluntary departure. Victoria Harmon walked away. At least that's what everyone believed. The search stopped. The file was closed. Victoria's name disappeared from every active registry. Her family was told to move on. But 8 years later, her car surfaced. And the woman driving it? She wasn't supposed to exist either. If someone you loved disappeared and left a note saying they needed space, would you believe it? Or would you keep searching? 6 months after Victoria vanished, Owen Harmon sold the house. He told neighbors it was financial. The mortgage was too much. The memories too heavy. He packed up, moved 90 miles north to Bellingham, and transferred to the Whatcom County Clerk's office. Clean break, fresh start. Then he filed the life insurance claim. $75,000 payable under an extended absence clause. No death certificate required. Just documentation from law enforcement confirming Victoria's voluntary departure. The check cleared in 6 weeks. Owen used it to settle debts, lease a downtown apartment, and close every account that had Victoria's name on it. One by one, her bank accounts, her credit cards, her phone line. All disconnected. Back in Port Angeles, people noticed the shift. Owen stopped showing up to community events, stopped answering questions about Victoria. One neighbor later told investigators, "He didn't look sad. He looked relieved." Another said Owen avoided eye contact, kept to himself, left town without saying goodbye. In Bellingham, co-workers described him differently. Efficient, private, emotionless. He never brought up his wife. When someone asked where she was, he'd say the same thing every time. She left. That was it. No elaboration, no pain, just fact. By the summer of 2014, Owen wasn't alone anymore. Her name was Simone Cartwright, 41 years old, unlicensed contractor, did cash jobs under the table, home repairs, landscaping, demo work, no business license, no permanent address for years. She had a record. Minor charges, trespassing, vandalism, nothing violent. But she was resourceful, and by early 2015, she'd moved into Owen's apartment. They never married, never filed joint taxes. But by 2017, Simone listed Owen's address on her insurance forms, her emergency contacts, her parole check-ins. They were a unit, quiet, invisible. While Owen rebuilt his life, Victoria disappeared from every system that proves a person exists. 2013, her social security number showed no activity. 2014, her union membership with IB Local 48 lapsed, non-payment of dues. 2016, Owen initiated a refinancing request on a loan he'd co-signed with Victoria back in 2009. The bank asked for proof of her status. Owen submitted a notarized affidavit. It read, Victoria Harmon has ceased all contact and is presumed deceased due to prolonged absence. No death certificate. No court order, just his word. The bank accepted it. The loan was restructured, Victoria's name removed. By 2018, her credit profile was flagged. Inactive, presumed deceased. She existed nowhere. Not in the system, not in anyone's memory. Except one person refused to let her go. Stories like this don't get told unless people share them. If you think someone needs to hear this, hit that share button. And if you're still here, drop a like. It helps more than you know. By 2019, Victoria Harmon had been erased. Her accounts closed. Her name stripped from every document. Her family told to accept that she'd chosen to walk away. But her younger brother, Ethan, never bought it. And in 2019, he decided to do something about it. What he found would crack the case wide open. Ethan Harmon never believed his sister walked away. He's 36, works as a paramedic in Seattle, sees tragedy every shift, knows the difference between someone who runs and someone who's taken. Victoria wasn't a runner. She planned everything, mapped her routes, left notes on the fridge, called their mother every Sunday without fail. That letter from Vancouver? Ethan read it once and knew something was wrong. From 2013 onward, he made quarterly calls to the Clallam County Sheriff's Office every 3 months. Same question. Has anything changed? Same answer. No new developments. By 2017, the deputies stopped returning his calls. By 2018, they told him directly, your sister made her choice. There's nothing to investigate. Ethan didn't stop. In 2019, Ethan hired a private data tracing firm. They specialized in dormant vehicle registrations, legacy address tracking, cold case asset recovery. Ethan gave them one target, Victoria's Subaru Outback. The car had never been recovered, never resurfaced, never showed up in impound records or auction lots. The firm ran a multi-state VIN search, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, British Columbia. They checked DMV databases, salvage yards, insurance claims, police impound logs. 6 weeks later, the report came back. Negative. No registration, no sales, no movement. The car had vanished as completely as Victoria did, but the investigator added a note at the bottom of the report. A vehicle doesn't just disappear. Someone hid it, or someone's still using it. May 27, 2020. A state trooper pulls over a midnight blue Subaru Outback on a rain-slicked highway outside Bellingham. Expired plates. Broken taillight. The driver, a woman in her mid-40s, has no ID, no registration, no insurance card. She says her name is Dana Phillips. The trooper runs the VIN. The system hesitates. Then, alert. Vehicle tied to missing person case. 2012. The car is registered to Victoria Harmon, a woman who disappeared 8 years earlier. The driver is arrested on the spot. At the station, a biometric scan reveals her real identity. Simone Cartwright, known associate of Owen Harmon. No active warrants. But when asked why she's driving a dead woman's car, she says nothing. Invokes her right to silence. Victoria's Subaru is towed to a state police forensic bay. Investigators start on the exterior. The car's been repainted, silver to midnight blue. Amateur job. Paint chips reveal the original color underneath. The plates have been swapped. Traced back to a decommissioned trailer owned by Simone's deceased uncle. Someone tried to hide this car. They open the doors. The interior is clean. Too clean. Vacuumed. Wiped down. But under the driver's seat, a forensic tech finds something. A black leather wallet. Inside, Victoria's expired driver's license. A faded photo of her and Ethan from 2010. And a gas station receipt. The receipt is dated October 10th, 2012, the day after Victoria left for her hiking trip. Location, Forks, Washington. 40 miles in the opposite direction from the Hoh rainforest. Owen told police Victoria was heading east into the mountains. This receipt proves the car went west, toward the coast, toward nowhere. That receipt placed Victoria's car in Forks the day after she left, but Owen said she was going to the Hoh rainforest. Someone lied, and that lie was about to collapse. Washington State Patrol contacts the Clallam County District Attorney's Office. They brief them on the traffic stop, the car, the receipt, Simone's arrest. Within 48 hours, a warrant is issued for Owen Harmon's Bellingham apartment. June the 2nd, 2020, 6:00 a.m. Officers knock. Owen answers in a bathrobe. Calm, composed. He asks what this is about. They tell him they found Victoria's car. His face doesn't change. The search team moves through the apartment methodically. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, then the bedroom. In the closet, behind a stack of old tax returns, they find a locked metal filing box. Owen doesn't have the key. They cut the lock. Inside, insurance correspondence from 2013, the payout letter, bank statements showing Victoria's accounts closed one by one. A folder labeled personal. Inside are letters, handwritten, addressed to Ethan, never mailed. They talk about closure, moving forward, letting go. But they never mention where Victoria is, never explain why she left, never reference any communication with her. Then, at the bottom of the folder, investigators find drafts, multiple versions of short handwritten notes. One reads, "I'm gone. I need space. Don't look for me." Nearly identical to the letter Owen received in 2012, but this one is incomplete. Lines crossed out, words rewritten, edits, an envelope fragment is tucked underneath. Local Whatcom County postmark, not Vancouver, BC. The letter was never mailed from Canada. It was written here. Among Owen's personal items, investigators find a brass key on a ring, hand-labeled in faded ink, Shed, PA, Port Angeles. One of the officers makes a call. They contact the current owners of Owen and Victoria's former home in Clallam County. The couple who bought the house in 2013 confirmed the backyard shed is still there. They've never opened it, never had a reason to. The owners give consent. A search team is dispatched. The shed sits at the back of the property. Weathered wood, rusted hinges. Officers force the door open. Inside, dust-covered tools, stacks of old tarps, a workbench. Along the back wall, something looks off. One of the panels doesn't sit flush. An officer taps it. Hollow sound. They remove the screws, pull the panel away. Behind it, a storage void. Large enough to fit a person. The floor shows discoloration, dark stains soaked into the plywood. One officer kneels down, runs a gloved hand across the surface. They spray luminol. The entire back wall lights up. Blood spatter, medium velocity, consistent with blunt force trauma. Evidence bags come out. A forensic tech finds a single hair strand wedged in a floor crack. Later confirmed through mitochondrial DNA, Victoria Harmon. Blood samples are collected, degraded but testable. Partial markers match the Harmon family profile. Near the rear fence line, officers dig. Shallow burial site. A rusted metal box inside. Contents, Victoria's hunting license, valid through 2013. A broken wristwatch, a pair of hiking boots. Items Owen never reported finding. Items he claims she took with her. Victoria Harmon never left for the Olympic Peninsula. She never packed her car. She never wrote that letter. She died in that shed. And the person who killed her spent 8 years erasing every trace of her existence. But now, the proof was in their hands. What kind of person can look investigators in the eye, Play the grieving spouse and sleep soundly for 8 years knowing the truth is buried in their backyard. June 4th, 2020. 2 arrest warrants are issued. Owen Harmon, conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, evidence tampering, obstruction of justice. Simone Cartwright, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, tampering with physical evidence, accessory after the fact. Officers arrive at Owen's apartment at dawn. He's awake, dressed, almost like he was expecting them. They read him his rights. He says nothing. Simone is arrested at a motel outside Bellingham an hour later. She doesn't resist, doesn't speak. Both are arraigned in Whatcom County Superior Court that afternoon. Owen's bail, denied. Flight risk, severity of charges. Simone's bail, $200,000. Neither enters a plea. Neither makes a statement. Outside the courthouse, news cameras wait. Ethan Harmon steps up to the microphones. His voice shakes. They told me she left, that she wanted to disappear. But my sister didn't leave. She was taken. And now, finally, someone's listening. A reporter asks if he blames himself for not pushing harder. Ethan pauses. Every day, but I never stopped believing something was wrong. I just wish I'd been louder sooner. He walks away before the next question. January 2021. The Commonwealth of Washington versus Owen Harmon and Simone Cartwright. The trial is held jointly, both defendants seated separately. Individual legal counsel, Assistant District Attorney Rachel Townsend leads the prosecution. Her opening statement is direct. This wasn't a disappearance. This was a calculated erasure. A woman's life was ended, and in its place, a lie was built to profit the very person who ended it. The prosecution lays out their timeline. October 9th, 2012. Owen lures Victoria into the backyard shed, says he's helping her pack gear for the trip. A confrontation happens. It turns violent. Blunt force trauma. Victoria dies in that shed. Owen stages the hiking trip narrative, drives her car west to Forks, opposite direction from where she said she was going. He hides the car temporarily, later retrieves it with Simone's help. Weeks later, during a documented work trip to Vancouver, Owen mails the forged letter to himself, creates the alibi, establishes the voluntary departure story. From 2013 to 2020, Owen and Simone systematically erase Victoria, profit from her death, hide the evidence. A forensic analyst takes the stand, confirms the blood spatter in the shed, the DNA match, the luminol findings. A handwriting expert testifies next. Compares the draft letters found in Owen's apartment to the 2012 mail letter. Stroke patterns match. Pressure points identical. Same pen type. The letter wasn't written by Victoria. It was written by Owen. A former co-worker testifies, states that weeks before Victoria disappeared, Owen confided in her during a lunch break. He said he felt trapped, that he needed a way out. She didn't think much of it at the time. Now it feels different. After 18 days of testimony, the jury deliberates for 7 hours. They return with verdicts. Owen Harmon, guilty, all charges. Simone Cartwright, guilty, accessory to fraud, evidence tampering. Owen stares straight ahead. No reaction. Simone drops her head. The courtroom is silent. They'd hidden the truth for 8 years. Now it was time to pay. April 14th, 2021, sentencing day. Judge Patricia Langford presides. Owen Harmon is brought in first. The courtroom is packed. Media, family, observers. Judge Langford reads the sentence. 28 years in Washington State Penitentiary. No parole eligibility for 19 years. She looks directly at Owen. You didn't just take a life. You erased it. You profited from it. And you looked her family in the eye and lied for 8 years. The court sees no remorse, only calculation. Owen doesn't flinch. Simone Cartwright is sentenced next. 16 years for her role in the cover-up. Judge Langford's tone hardens. You may not have killed Victoria Harmon, but you helped bury the truth, and that makes you complicit in every lie told since. Simone's hands tremble. She wipes her eyes, but she doesn't speak. Despite everything, the blood, the DNA, the drafts, the shed, no murder charge was filed. Prosecutors explain it plainly. Without Victoria's body, without a confirmed cause of death, A homicide conviction would be legally unviable. The defense could argue reasonable doubt. So the convictions rest on conspiracy, fraud, tampering, obstruction, all upheld on forensic and circumstantial evidence. It's not perfect, but it's justice. June 2021. Victoria Harmon is legally declared deceased by court order. A private memorial is held in Port Angeles. Family, former colleagues, union representatives from IBEW Local 48. Ethan gives the eulogy. His voice is steady this time. They buried the truth for 8 years, but today my sister gets her name back, and that matters. He talks about who Victoria was, not the woman in the reports, not the victim in the trial, the sister who called every Sunday, the consultant who believed in clean energy before it was popular, the hiker who found peace in silence. A scholarship fund is established in her name, supporting women entering renewable energy fields. The first recipient is announced in early 2022. Owen Harmon is incarcerated at Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, ineligible for parole review until 2040. Simone Cartwright is serving her sentence at Washington Correction Center for Women in Gig Harbor. A court order prohibits any communication between them for the duration of their sentences. Victoria's Subaru Outback remains in state custody. Evidence lot, Olympia, repainted, stripped of plates, weathered by time, the car that became the proof. Victoria's body has never been recovered. Multiple searches, cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, nothing. As of 2024, she remains unfound. In the absence of a body, the car became the confession, the shed became the crime scene, and the lie became the evidence. Victoria Harmon's voice was silenced, but her story refused to stay buried, because one person wouldn't stop asking questions. One person wouldn't accept the easy answer, and that made all the difference. If you made it this far, you're one of the few who stayed to hear the whole truth. Most people scroll past stories like this, but Victoria's story matters. Ethan's fight matters. And if you don't share it, if you don't subscribe, stories like this disappear into the algorithm, just like Victoria almost did. Don't let that happen. If you could ask Owen Harmon one question, knowing he'd have to answer truthfully, what would it be? Thank you for watching to the end, and see you in our next episode of Compass True Crime Stories. Stay safe.